you knew that one belief eliminated from your brain could change the course of your reality, would you want that? It's not for everyone, only the brave. Those who want to own their life like the powerful leaders they were born to be. A pivotal moment can change everything. Now, here's the host of Crossroads to Awakening show, Wendy Paquette.
Hello, and welcome everyone. Welcome to the Crossroads to Awakening show. I'm your host, Wendy Paquette. I am a holographic mind reprogrammer. So I'm supporting humans that are stuck at a crossroads to awaken to their true selves and change the world from where they stand. Because I believe as a high frequency human, you can see your life. That is a direct reflection of the programs that are etched into your brain. And those programs can easily be shifted when you see the truth for what it is. So if you'd like to access your true self, reach out to me at wendypaquette.com and let's talk. So today is an incredible conversation and one that, I didn't even anticipate myself going to, which is how falling in love with yourself will attract the perfect mate. I was looking around at my friends, my really good friends group, and some of my family, and I realized that there was a common theme in their lives that I really hadn't acknowledged before. And a lot of them are single. And there's like a beauty to being single, right? How you run your life and how you experience your reality is slightly different than when you have someone else in it. And one of the things that I find most often is you might run a perfectly managed single life and at the same time really truly desire a relationship, like a deep-seated, intimate, beautiful, loving, fun, outrageous, right, relationship. And as I move through, really taking a good look at what my friends are creating in their world, I'm seeing that these amazing humans are still single. Now, there's not a problem with that. Like from my perspective, everything's exactly the way it gets to be. And they're often still kind of in the space of maybe looking for a relationship or being open to a relationship, yet nothing seems to change. And let's get this straight. This is from my perspective. I'm just looking at it because these are some pretty flippin' amazing humans. And so I get that it takes another amazing human to create with them the space where they could, build a life together. So that's why this show is all about how falling in love with yourself will attract the perfect mate. Because the one piece that potentially could be missing if I'm speaking to you and you're one of those beautiful humans out there that really has your shit together, you like love pouring out of you of every cell. You're creating the life that you would love one step at a time. You're standing in a vision of what the world gets to look like. And you know that you get to share it with someone else. And maybe you've been through that before. You've had a relationship, or maybe you've been married and you've had children. So now you're on a different stage of, a relationship searching, or maybe you have yet to create that for yourself and you're standing in that position for the very first time. What that gets to look like moving forward is how can I be in my life and live my life and still invite someone in and have it not change? That's what most of them would say to me. Well, I love the way my life is. I love, what I do, and I love the way things work, and I love my time and all this stuff. And I really, really, really would love, someone to share it with. One of the pieces that is really clear to me is that they're certain that they've created a life that they love on their own. And they're certain that they'd like to invite somebody in. Now, there's a couple of things that come up for me when I speak into that space. One is you get to get down to the truth of the matter. Do you really, really want someone to come in and shift how you live your life from that perspective? That's one piece you get to really look at. So I'm just inviting you into some spaces. And the other is, do you really want to open up that Pandora's box of dating and being out there and going through like all the highs and lows of meeting new people, and how will that impact your life? Those are the two things that come up. And the main piece that I find is often overlooked in that scenario is how you really feel about yourself. right? We're always looking outward. Well, I love the life that I live and I love what I've created. And maybe I have the best career in the world, the best like daytime routine, the best nighttime routine, the best, whatever that could look like for you. But that's looking outward. That's your experience, like in your reality with your singleness in a space that you've created for the doing aspect, right? You're experiencing it from a doing space. But what about the parts and the pieces and the beauty in you that perhaps you haven't looked in the mirror close enough to be able to say, you know what? Goodness, I would really like to shift something here. Like, where am I in love with myself? Because I know I want to, source a relationship that I could just fall deeply, madly in love with someone. But where it really begins is with you. So we started out this conversation looking outside of ourselves, looking at what we've created in our life, which ideally is outside of ourselves. Like, no matter what your life looks like, you've created it to live into it. But really, truly, how you're going to be the beacon of attraction is how you really, truly feel about yourself. So whatever it is that you're not letting yourself talk about or see or acknowledge in you that gets to change or shift in a beautiful way is also what you're not allowing someone else to see. And there's a barrier that's created in that experience. There's a barrier in, well, you know what? I really don't want them to see that. I'm not quite happy with it, so I don't want them to see it. And imagine putting everything that you think that you'd like to shift and change at some point in your life, put it into a brick, one word into a brick. Well, you know what? I really like to change the way my physical body looks. We all get to that, but I'm going to put that in a brick, my physical body. Well, you know what? I don't have a really amazing relationship with, what my family and how we get along. So I kind of going to hide that piece of it. So I'm going to put that as a brick. So maybe your family relationship, you don't really want anyone to see that because what you want is different. You've learned in your family that things that don't work are what you're going to create the opposite of. A lot of us do that, right? So that becomes a brick. So now we have a family brick and we have a body brick and we have all these outside world bricks. Okay, well, I don't really want someone to see that aspect. I plan to change it. Whatever that is, it could even be your finances, right? Or where you live. Each one of those things is a brick. If you're lining those bricks up in front of you, how many bricks is it going to take for you to be completely covered so that no one can see you? So if we're talking the law of attraction, you're talking like they got to get through an entire brick wall in order to see you. That would be an interesting experience. So when you're in the space of wanting to be in a relationship with someone, wanting to attract an amazing human, because deep down, that's who you be. What have you put in front of you that is stopping them from even getting through, even seeing you out in the world? You could be in the biggest single party on the planet. Well, maybe not during COVID, but ideally, and no one can see you because you have all these bricks of what you're hiding behind or what you've intended to change before someone else can actually see those things. And that creates quite the barrier. So the great part about acknowledging any of that is that now you have some choices, right? You get to actually really look at them and be present with them and give yourself the opportunity to shift them. And some of those you could just get rid of. Like sometimes you could pull a brick that came from your childhood and just like toss it. Might not even be true for you today. But if you haven't acknowledged what stands in the way for you actually being willing to see you, and let's just look in the mirror before we even look at anyone else. If we're activating the law of attraction, when you look in the mirror, what pieces and parts of you come up that you are not happy with that will be the attractor point for someone else, for you to see in them on something that you're not happy with, right? So we get to flip that on its head. And we get to look at what we are happy with and what we do love about ourselves. And we get to fall in love or re-fall in love, or maybe fall in love for the first time with the person that you're looking at in the mirror. So that's a big, giant summary of what's oftentimes created in the world when you're in the position of being single and you want to attract someone into your world in order to have and create a relationship with them. That could be long lasting. Or something else, whatever relationship you're looking for. So in a nutshell, we're looking at a whole bunch of bricks that become a wall in front of you energetically that people can't see past because you've put those bricks there in order to hide something from yourself or from someone else. Peeling back those bricks, I mean, I said bricks on purpose because A, they can get really heavy, and B, they're held together by mortar, right? So how many ways do you weave those things together with each other in order to create a humongous support system of barrier to someone else? So let's look at how we can shift that, right? That potentially could be true for very, very many people, right? We're not actually looking at ourselves when it comes to falling in love. We're looking outside of us, which is why we create these perfect lives that are so fun to live in. Yet we've ignored the one piece, which is ourselves, that get to be the attractor factor to the person that's coming in. And how I would create that possibility for you to see and know and how to move through that is, of course, through modern time travel in meditation. The easiest way that you can get from one position to another without actually going there first is through time traveling to the end of that day, week, month, year, decade, and being able to turn around and look back and say, wow, you know what? This is where I was. This is where I want to be. What did it take for me to get there? What worked? And also what didn't work? So if you listen to prior shows, you'll see that we walk through pretty much the same process each time. It's all modern day time travel. That is the title of my new course that you can pick up, and it can be a DIY. You can do it yourself, or you can do it with me and have me guide you. But it's modern day time travel today, where you can go in, learn the deep states of hypnosis or meditation, or getting into a relaxed state where you can access your past, present, and future, wherever you'd like to go in order to create the life you'd like to live. So today we're going to lean into that and see how you can fall in love with yourself to then create the relationship of your dreams, right? Be the absolute beacon for someone to fall deeply, madly in love with you based on how you love you. So you get to be that beacon in the world. And other people get to see what's truly possible as well. Instead of having all those bricks in front of you, we're going to remove them all. And how are we going to do that? The modern day time travel. That's how we're going to do it. So in another moment, we're going to walk into a break. So I'm going to walk you into a little exercise right now. So while we're on the break, you can jot some things down for yourself. So grab a pen and paper. What you get to look at is, we're going to start with the same thing every time. Where are you at right now? How do you feel about your life, the life you're living? Like, what does your environment look like? Are you pleased with your environment? If you are, great, jot things down you absolutely love and how easy it was, or, you know, how challenging it was, whatever it is for you to create it. And then you're going to look at where you want to be. Right? So how do you, I suppose I sort of like fast forwarded a bit. You're looking at where you're at in your life and your environment. The next piece of that is, have you looked in the mirror yet to make any connections? And then we're going to look at where we're headed. So on this break, you're going to jot down where you are at. What type of life have you created for yourself? We're looking specifically at the environment. Right? The environment. So you're going to include friends, if they're like in your life, or if you play with them, like if you go out for dinner, create a social life for yourself. You're going to look at your physical environment. What does your place that you live in look like? Does it give you the type of experience that you'd like to have and invite someone else into? You can look at your career, how you're living into your absolute vision for what your financial experience looks like. And most often that's with your career, your dream vision with yourself. And write all those things down. What have you created for yourself right now in your environment, in your current relationships, like your friends and family, and with your career? We're going to look at your lifestyle. And as you jot those things down, write all the things that you absolutely love about them and those things you absolutely do not love, so that we can get really clear on where we get to go next. So Jen, let's walk into a break while they all have homework. So you're listening to the Crossroads to Awakening show, and I'm Wendy Paquette. We're talking about modern day time travel and how you can create relationships of your dreams. And that happens by falling in love with yourself. So we're talking about how to do that. We will see you in just a minute.
If you could wave a magic wand and have your life be anything you wanted it to be, what would it look like? Professional dancer, CEO of a multi-million-dollar earth-conscious company, a screenwriter with top billing shows, and ultimately have the boldness to move about the world without emotional blocks standing in your way, therefore having the confidence to achieve anything you put your mind to. That's what Wendy Paquette knows is possible for you. The first step is understanding why you don't believe it too, or why you do, and yet haven't created it. Put on your possibility goggles and join Wendy now, because you're at the Crossroads to Awakening.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Crossroads to Awakening show with your host, Wendy Paquette. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Now back to the program.
Okay, welcome back. So did you get all your things written down, your environment that you love, the relationship you currently have, relationships with your friends and family, what your career is, what you love about it, or what you don't love, right? All those things. And so what we get to know is that's where you are right now, right? Where are you at now? We're going to make a gauge, right? This is like an assessment. Because having a relationship isn't just something that you're just going to go, oh yeah, I'm going to have one, and you choose it and go. There's always going to be things in the way. And sometimes knowing that there's going to be things that come up for you with a relationship are that's the very reason it stops you from actually having it, because you don't know what that's going to look like. So that's kind of a bit of a fear of the unknown. And you don't know if you want to actually go through that hassle. If there is a hassle, you don't even know, but you're putting that in front of you anyway. That's one of those bricks. So when we know where we're at, right? What we've created thus far as the current relationships we have with friends and family or whoever, neighbors, colleagues, the current environment that we're living in. So our lifestyle, what does it look like in our current environment? What we want to invite someone in, and what our career looks like, or our, our dream or vision for our life, how we created that for ourselves. So we're creating a marker point. So that's where we're at. Step 2 is looking at, where do you want to be? Right? Where do you want to be? Because you've now marked down where you're at. Then we get to look at, then where do you want to be? And this is a key point, because your first thought is, where I want to be is in a relationship. Right? This is a relationship show today. I want to be in a relationship. So why are we talking about where I want to be? That's where I want to be. Great. Awesome. Let's create that together. So where do you want to be when it comes to your lifestyle, your relationships, and the vision for your environment, So environmental lifestyle together, your career. Where is that place you would like to be? The place where you would be so thrilled to invite someone in that they would look around and go, wow, this is incredible. Like, wow, they built this incredible life, right? This is a piece of it, because there's a gap there, and in the gap is you. So let's look at what's possible. So we're just dreaming into it, right? You don't get to stop yourself and put some barriers in the way. You certainly don't get to add any more bricks to that pile, because I'm certain you have enough there already where they're blocking you from anyone from seeing you. So now we're going to look at, where do you want to be? Because we get to assess a gap here. And it's all relative. So now we're going to look at how, your ultimate lifestyle, the ultimate existence for you. Where would you ultimately love to be in your life, as far as what the current relationships you have, right? Are you at all tens with your friends and family? Your career, your dreams, right? Your finances. And you could also look at your health, like your physical aspect, all of those things. Where would you like to be if the ultimate experience happened and a magical human popped into your world? Where would you like to be right now? If you could snap your fingers, wave a magic wand, and be living it right now, what would it look like? Just dream. Just dream for a minute. Just use your imagination, that source of intelligent creativity, and allow yourself to go into that space and look at it, right? Would you have changed your career? Or are you happy with it? Would you change your friends? Are you happy with them? Right? Would you build a stronger relationship or bond, or create a 10 relationship? Maybe it's at a 2 or 3 or 5 relationship with your family. What does that look like? And what about your body? Right? Are you happy with your body? Is that the big trigger point? Maybe your life all adds up. You have the career of your dreams, or a career that you would love, and you have like time to grow into more, and you're living the lifestyle that you love. You're happy and joyful, but you look at your body and you're like, nope, not yet. A lot of us do that, right? Nope, that's not the body. So we're in judgment of our body already. But oftentimes we ignore that piece, right? We keep looking outside of ourselves and think, well, it's got, and when my environment's created, I'll be able to create something else with my body. Like that gets to be created first. We sort of ignore the piece of our body. Well, our body piece is the piece you get to look in the mirror with, right? When's the last time you actually, maybe after the shower or the tub, stood in front of the mirror and actually adored this beautiful skin suit, as I call it, the skin suit, this beautiful body that is in connection to, in a relationship with your soul? How can you be your best self in a body that you're not even willing to look at, if that's where you're at? Right? And you get to be honest with yourself. Only you can admit this or acknowledge this in your own existence. Where are you always looking to look outside of yourself for what you may want, or what you may desire, or what you'd like to create, and you fail to look at you, at how you truly feel about you? Because how you feel about you, all those reasons that you're not happy with yourself, are all the reasons that you will give to someone else to be not happy with a relationship with you as well. So these are all things that matter. Your environment isn't the only thing, right? Your environment or your career, or, all the things we are speaking into, those aren't the only things that matter. What matters is how you see yourself. So we're creating a platform to see how you've created your life, like from the inside out. You've created it out there, somewhere out there. So your career, your lifestyle. And the one key point is that you're the creator of it. And you get to stand in front of the mirror and look at you and make some now critical observations. Am I as happy with my body, my spirit, my mind, with my alignment to my life? That's a big one. As I would like someone else to be with my soul, right? My body, my life. Because everyone ultimately falls in love with another person and is inspired by the things around them. So here's the key element. If you're not inspired to be you, fully you, skin suit and all, soul shining, body beaming, joy creating, magical human, if you're not willing to be that in your world, with your environment, with your career, with all those things, how could someone else see that as well? And that would be, how can we remove all the bricks that are in the way from someone seeing you? Right? There's so much more to building a relationship and falling in love with yourself to attract someone who could really fall in love with you than just, it's not like you've been dealt a raw deck. or a raw deal. Oh yeah, I was dealt a crap deal. I'll never meet anybody. Well, no, there's actually a true formula to it. And it is solvable, right? We can move all the things that are in the way and undo them and recreate from that space so that you can be the attractor factor to your perfect mate. But the step one is acknowledging all those things, looking at what you've created so far, seeing your magic, seeing what's possible, and also seeing the things that you don't like and you have yet to change, right? Maybe you're just not willing to acknowledge the things. There's some things you just sweep into the corner or under the carpet and you're not willing to look at them. So the first part was seeing where we're at, right? The second part is seeing where we want to be ultimately. What does our dream experience look like? Where are we living? What does our house look like and our environment look like when we're meeting this magical human that we're going to bring into our lives to share together? When I look at myself in the mirror, how much do I love myself? How much am I totally in love with my thighs, right? That I don't even see that as a barrier to anything. I'm not even being self-conscious in any way with my beautiful body, whatever it looks like. It doesn't have to look like those things in a magazine, those bodies in magazines that have been touched up. It gets to look like whatever inspires you. You get to just fall in love with every cell, right? You get to fall in love with your hair color, your eye color, your skin color, the way that you smile, the shape and alignment of your teeth. You get to fall in love with absolutely every part of you. And a lot of that comes from removing the gap from what you've created up until today, because you've created this experience with yourself up until today. You've created whatever your skin suit is responding as. Your brain has dictated that. Your brain has literally decided, I say literally, it has created the opportunity for it to become what it is based on your belief systems, right? And we are moved as humans by our emotions. And you know that if you are an emotional eater, right? We eat because we fall into an emotional experience and it becomes that magical cycle that we seem to not get out of. And that stems from your level of inspiration about your life, right? If you look at someone you would consider a successful human, they have nailed all these aspects of their life. They have found what works for their body. They are committed to experiencing these magical things with their body. That therefore you look at the rest of their life, their lifestyle, where they live, their career, all those things, they all seem to add up as well. They kind of seem like they have all their shit together. And it's not because they haven't worked at it. It's because they've been willing to look at where they're at, where they want to be, and what's in the gap for them, right? It takes some true honesty to stand in your power and stand in the mirror and go, you know what, face, I have ignored you my whole life. I didn't even know that I had a freckle on my left cheek. Whatever that looks like, right? To truly being honest with the fact that you may not even be seeing yourself in the mirror. You are ultimately invisible to yourself. You're invisible to you. So what's real and true is if you're invisible to you, who else do you think you're going to be invisible for? Right? I'm not even going to put the words in your mouth, but you can go to almost every place. Somewhere where you'd like to be seen, somewhere where you'd like to create a relationship with someone, perhaps at your job, in your career, moving up the corporate ladder, if that's where you're headed, creating a job for yourself. If you've created a space where you don't want to see you, even in the mirror, you will create that space to not be seen outside of you. The inner will reflect the outer. And if you're always looking outside of you for the validation, you can create the most beautiful lifestyle for yourself ever created. It does not mean that you are willing to look at you, the person, and address that. You're completely separate from the lifestyle. So you may be attracting someone who's coming into your world only attracted to your lifestyle and not actually attracted to you. I wonder how that would work out. So as we're headed into our next break, you now get to take an opportunity to sit with yourself and decide, where do you want to be? What is your ultimate experience in your life, having a relationship in it? right? We already wrote down where we were, right? Where we were at like right now. And if you're looking for a relationship, you get to acknowledge that I'm in, a relationship-less experience, and and that's what you want, but that is part of your now. What we're moving into now is looking at, what do I really want? What does my life really look like? It might look very similar physically, like in the world, and maybe your house looks the same, your career looks the same. Maybe your fitness routine looks the same. Maybe that you do pay attention to that. And if you're still without a relationship, it's not because you're not worth being with. It's because there's just some things that you have yet to address or that have yet to be shifted that you can create for yourself that'll open up the gateway. Now, I can't guarantee you that you're not going to be bombarded the second you open this gateway, because you might very well be. And so you get to prepare yourself for what's coming, because once you open the floodgates, you very well might have a lineup of humans seeing you for the very first time. And you get to fall in love with the person that you're looking at in the mirror in every aspect, so that that beautiful human can also fall in love with the same things that you do, that you fall in love with yourself. So we're going to walk into our next break. And in the meantime, you get to write down, like, where do you see yourself at? Use that creative intellect, the creative intelligence from the multiverse to dream big, dream it, and pull it into this reality, because we get to look at where you want to be. Because the next thing that we're going to speak into after the break is the gap. What is the gap from where I am to where I want to be? And how do we access that gap and get that gap filled, put a bridge there? So let's walk into our next break. And when we come back, that's where we're going to head towards. What's in the way? What's the gap? So we'll be right back.
If you could wave a magic wand and have your life be anything you wanted it to be, what would it look like? Professional dancer, CEO of a multi-million-dollar earth-conscious company, a screenwriter with top billing shows, and ultimately have the boldness to move about the world without emotional blocks standing in your way, therefore having the confidence to achieve anything you put your mind to. That's what Wendy Paquette knows is possible for you. The first step is understanding why you don't believe it too, or why you do, and yet haven't created it. Put on your possibility goggles and join Wendy now, because you're at the Crossroads to Awakening. This is the Crossroads to Awakening show with your host, Wendy Paquette. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Now back to the program.
Okay, now we're back. So I realize it may take a little longer for you to jot down where you want to be, because sometimes half the battle is actually giving yourself permission to dream there, to be inspired, to go to some place that you don't actually have in front of you if you don't, or even to a place with a relationship that you haven't been in your mind. Because if you go there, oftentimes you think that it's a disappointment to even go there, because you're thinking that you're not going to actually get there. And I get it. And that is a real true thought. And in this space, in the Crossroads to Awakening, that's the space where you awaken to your true self's possibilities, right? We're creating the opportunity for you to step into those spaces. So it becomes a playground that you will learn to love about yourself, so that you realize that nothing's impossible. Because when you decide you want something, if it's in your field of consciousness, that means automatically it is available and accessible, because you've been thinking about it. And by the law of parallel thought, someone else is also thinking the similar thing. So that could go, with any topic or category you're going to think about. So let's look at the next step, which is filling the gap. Where do we get to fill the gap from where we are today to where you want to be? Filling that gap is not as difficult as you might think. And you might also be thinking you've been at this for so long and you can't seem to find the magical move that's going to create that for you. And that's why I love diving into these topics with you, because filling the gap can be otherworldly, right? My favorite way to source filling the gap for me is through the magic of meditation, and more specifically through like modern day time travel. When you learn that you could decide what you want and see where you're at today, where you want to be, and then go into a deep state meditation, you can literally stand in your now, then go to your future end of day or end of week or end of month and look back and ask your current self, what worked? I got to the end of my day, right? Or ask you're speaking yourself to yourself, your current self in the now to your future self, or even your past self. I mean, you can go either way, and ask what worked. So it'd be your current self asking your future self, hey, you're at the end of the day. It's been the best, you created a relationship and a life that you absolutely love. Because you're in the future, how far away are you? And you could actually get the answer. Potentially you could only be like, maybe it's like 5 months away, right? Your future self will answer you. You're about 5 months away. Awesome. The next question from your current self is, okay, what worked? What did I do that worked to get me there? And your future self will answer you. It'll be, well, we changed jobs because, you've been thinking about changing jobs for a really long time and you haven't. And so you took the leap and you jumped into a position that lit you on fire. You generated more money and you were joyful every single day. That's what worked. What else worked, right? And you can keep asking questions and keep receiving answers in this space until you're complete. So you could literally get the answers from your future self in the space where everything worked for you. You got exactly what you wanted. Get all the things that worked for you, and also ask what didn't work, so that you could have the opportunity to shift those things, change those things that didn't work. So maybe what didn't work was it took 5 months because you didn't start working out for the first 8 weeks, 10 weeks. So that didn't work. And you can imagine that the shift in that space would be, okay, well, I waited, so now I'm not going to wait. I'm going to start today. Because if you're holding back because you're not feeling healthy, and I don't mean your body has to look a particular way unless that's totally up to you, but often working out creates a sense of freedom with your breathing, with how you sleep, eliminating some stress levels. So you're feeling good in a way that's almost like a whole body experience. So getting your blood pumping, right? Moving the oxygen through. If you waited 8 to 10 weeks before you started working out, you can imagine you'd still most likely you'd feel sluggish and not inspired, energetically inspired. Okay. So if that's what didn't work, and that's why it took 5 months, I'm going to write that down. It's going to be, I'm going to start working out today, right? I just closed the gap of 8 months of waiting. Well, what else didn't work? Well, now I'm trying to think of what's going to come to me if I'm sitting in that space of the future. What didn't work? Well, in the 5 month space, what didn't work was I was ignoring my parents or my brother, and we weren't talking, and it was creating a really crunchy space. And at all costs, I was avoiding him, and I didn't connect with him. And we were supposed to have a family gathering, and there was some crunchiness there. That didn't work. I didn't shift that. So I left a not 10 relationship, kind of a crunchy relationship in my family, crunchy experience there. And I didn't shift it. And that slowed me down a little bit because I got sad in moments where I really felt like I should be changing something and I didn't. And I felt sad because maybe my mom felt sad because I was battling, with my brother or whatever that looks like. Okay, awesome. So, next move, reach out to my brother and have the conversation that I've been meaning to have with him for so long so that I can clean up the relationship, right? So you can get answers from both perspectives, what worked and what didn't work. And all of them are here for you, available for you right now. That's why it's called modern day time travel. You can go get the answers and be still here now and implement all that you learned about yourself and your choices. And then the beautiful part about being human is that you still have those choices. You still have the ability to either A, keep doing what you're doing and follow what worked, because now you have a pathway. You've just created your own roadmap, right? Your own blueprint. The other piece is you've also been given the keys to accelerating what's truly possible, because now you know what didn't work. Because in, standing in the future self from today, what didn't work was I didn't work, you didn't work out for the first 8 to 10 weeks. Okay. So what do I get to do today? Maybe I get to go get a membership at a gym, or maybe I get to pay someone online to teach me how to do, maybe I get to jump into an online yoga, like whatever that looks like. You can close your own gaps. The difference being you have access to all that infinite intelligence in every given moment. Modern day time travel through meditation with me is only one pathway. It's one mechanism, one process that will support you in accessing all that information. And you, my friend, have access to all that information, whatever it looks like, right? So I'm not here to say that my way is the only way. It's a way that you could, if you feel called to attempt or called to do, try it and see what happens, to see when you do it, what gets created, or source and seek other ways. I'm so not attached to what you create, because you're the only one that must live your life. I can't live your life for you. I could see what stands in the way. I could see the programs that are stuck in your brain. I can also support you in transmuting with you those programs to be source energy over stuck energy. But ultimately, you're the one that gets to walk through your life, right? With all your creations and life in your hand. And that is the most powerful thing you get to know as a human. If that, and at the end of the day, and I shouldn't say if, when at the end of your days, when you transform from this body into something else, wouldn't you love to have experienced your life in the most optimal experience? Something where you're like, you know what, I, finally figured out how I could live my life on purpose. Notice that word, on purpose, meaning I know what's in the way. I know what makes me tick. I'm super in love with myself, and I'm attracting that piece. Of course I chose that, right? I didn't cop out, and I wasn't lazy, and I wasn't, thinking that I knew everything. And I mean, if you are, I'm totally not attached to that either. You're the only one who gets to live your life. And if you're striving towards simplicity and ease and joy and love and fun, if you're after a relationship that's magical, wouldn't you want to give that to yourself? Wouldn't you want to know how you could create that in the most beautiful way? And that's how I see this. Falling in love with yourself is going to this space where you're willing to admit how you currently look at yourself. What is your experience of yourself? And then noticing that there is a gap from who you are being, what you love about yourself now, to what you would want to love yourself as, right? There's a gap there for sure. Otherwise, you would be being it already. And when you're fully in love with you, when you can look in the mirror and smile at yourself, even looking at your, beautiful, precious, naked body and going, you know what, girl, or dude, whatever you're looking at yourself, you're like, yes, I'm just totally in love with myself. And it has everything to do from the inside out. I'm in love with my freckles. I'm in love with my skin. I'm in love with my hair. My physique is just sexy and beautiful. How could someone else not experience you in the same way without those roadblocks in the way, without like putting up the roadblocks of, oh, I'm not happy with that. So someone else could be not, they'll be energetically repelled because you are, right? You get to be the open gateway of all the ways you would love to be loved, romantically, experientially, all those things. Only you know what that is. I can't tell you what that is at all. You know. And so what if you played a little game with yourself to create that possibility, right? Set yourself up to win no matter what by giving yourself the gift of knowing what is in the way and what worked, right? It's super magical and so extremely easy to live in that space. You just get to play and attempt it and watch what happens. Because if by mere accident you actually created what you wanted, it would create the a super freeway of possibilities, because it would be never ending, right? We think relationship is one thing. There's all kind of things I'm certain you like. Relationships are probably the number one thing on your list. And who wouldn't want one? Who wouldn't want to enjoy another human in their life or more? So we're going into our final break. And what we'll do when you come back is we'll speak a little deeper into what that could look like, how excited you can get about it, what's possible for you today, and how you can access that possibility right now. So we're going to walk into a break. We will see you shortly. You're listening to the Crossroads to Awakening show with me, Wendy Paquette, at your service, my friends. Let's go get everything you've ever wanted. So right here for you. We'll see you in a minute.
If you could wave a magic wand and have your life be anything you wanted it to be, what would it look like? Professional dancer, CEO of a multi-million-dollar earth-conscious company, a screenwriter with top billing shows, and ultimately have the boldness to move about the world without emotional blocks standing in your way, therefore having the confidence to achieve anything you put your mind to. That's what Wendy Paquette knows is possible for you. The first step is understanding why you don't believe it too, or why you do, and yet haven't created it. Put on your possibility goggles and join Wendy now, because you're at the Crossroads to Awakening. This is the Crossroads to Awakening show with your host, Wendy Paquette. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Now back to the program.
All right. So now we've kind of walked through those possibilities, and the whole show is around how falling in love with yourself will attract the perfect mate. Because whatever is in your way for you in your life, sometimes it's hidden. Like sometimes you hide it. You hide it so well that you hide it from yourself. And those things create the bricks that build up in front of you where others can't see you either. And the beautiful part about this, yes, it sucks that maybe you created that, but because you created it, you can uncreate or destroy it. You can take it apart and you can move all that stuff out of the way on your own from the space of your own home or body or wherever you're at, right? You can go into the space, that energetic space of deep state meditation and travel, modern day time travel to the future to see what worked for you and create a magical pathway without a lot of the big things that can get in the way, because you are the one giving yourself the information. And what's really cool about that is, like when your future self says, hey, dude, like you're not happy with your body and you didn't start working out for 8 to 10 weeks. You're thinking in your head instantaneously, oh gosh, I know. Like that totally was standing in my way. How could you not acknowledge the truth of that? Your true self is everywhere. And we call it the future. It's perceived future. That future self is standing there with this life that you would really, really want already created in a timeline that's available to you now. So give yourself the ability to actually reach out and grab it. I mean, what do you have to lose? Absolutely nothing. Only something to gain, right? At worst case scenario, you learn how to meditate and create peace in every moment. I mean, imagine if the entire world stood in that space. I'll tell you that for right now. I don't even have to think about it. I can imagine this world being in a place of peace every given moment. What it would create from there, I don't even care. I just know it'd be something amazing. So do I want to experience that? Of course I do. That's my big vision for the world, is being in peace, being in the space of peace, which peace to me is free of destructive conflict, right? Sometimes we have conflict that creates possibilities, but I mean destructive conflict like the way we have been experiencing it, maybe with, incongruencies with the, pandemic and the medical industry and the governments and all the things that we are like really taking note of now. What we're noticing is the conflict is in what we feel to be possible or true or not true, and what's actually being presented to us and in our reality. It doesn't change whether you want a relationship or an amazing job or you want to bring something into your life. If you look at the macro of all of that, we're seeing it out in the world already. We're seeing what's being created is something that most of us aren't really blissful about. We're like, ew, this is not really that great. Like a virus that is causing us all to be separate from each other. That's not really what I wanted. And what it's caused me to realize is how much I value my relationships, my friendships, my friends, my neighbors. It causes me to value the people that I bump into or that I'm standing in line with at the grocery store, because I deeply care about other humans, deeply. And I always knew it, but I am highly aware of it now that I'm out in the world, when we are, forced to not be around people. If you're in some of the countries that are like still in massive like distancing, when you're forced to not have something, you find value in what that means to you, not in not having it, but at what it means to have the freedom, the kind of freedom that you have choice in every moment. You're not being told what to do. You're living a life of freedom that causes peace in your world, no matter what that looks like. I truly believe that having a relationship and falling in love with yourself, and allowing that relationship, having a relationship with yourself and falling in love with yourself, will attract the kind of human into your world that will create the same type of relationship with you that you create with yourself. So fall in love with you. Every little bit of you, on purpose. Don't just say it to yourself, but actually do it. Treat yourself with all the ways of being that you would like to be treated, right? Treat yourself with absolute respect. Always create a space where you're being an excellence. Love up on yourself. Give yourself rest, relaxation, beautiful nourishment, time to exercise, and the freedom to create in this world, whatever it is you want to create. You will then be greeted with someone in this world who treats you and experiences you in the same way. And it will be magical and lovely. There is a pathway to get there. So that is my invitation for you. Find me on Wendy at wendypaquette.com. Come and drop a message in there. Or if you're seeing that the programs are already in there, it's modern day time travel. Jump in and play with your reality and change it. And what happens is you'll notice a change in the outside world, and it will impact everyone in it, right? Ultimately, we are what we want in the world. We become what we think about, and what we think about becomes. And that makes a difference. So blessed to have spent this hour with you, creating in a space of possibility in relationships. Fall in love with you in every aspect of who you be, right down to we didn't even get down to the beautiful heart you be, magnificent creator, absolute brilliant, at everything you do, supporter or analyzer, promoter, controller, whatever quadrant you might be in, whatever personality trait you might be. Fall in love with yourself from that place so that you can allow others to fall in love with you. And for heaven's sake, jump into modern day time travel and get all the answers for yourself so you can create that life with ease and grace. Unless you like it difficult, but I'm just saying that's the invitation. I'm so very blessed to play with you here in this space at the Crossroads to Awakening. I'm so looking forward to seeing you again. You get to pop over to my YouTube channel. Just look me up, Wendy Paquette, and come play with me there. I'm playing in the spaces and I have questions to answer for you. And we're actually playing with the modern day time travel. So look for the show, Modern Day Time Travel, on YouTube, and maybe you get to experience it for yourself. Maybe you'll be one of the people that asks the question and that I answer it on YouTube. So there you go. Let's see you on the other side, and let's play with what's truly possible. Relationships is only one category. There are so many categories in this reality. Always one is at your forefront. There's always one thing that you wish would be different, one thing that you wish you could change. That's where we get to go, and that's where we get to play. So have the most magnificent week until I see you Monday here at the Crossroads to Awakening. So much love to you. And don't forget, find me on YouTube at Wendy Paquette. We'll do modern day time travel together. Let's solve these issues. It's so possible. Have the most magnificent day. Enjoy the sun in your face and find it. I'm sending it to you one day this week. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for choosing to listen to the Crossroads to Awakening radio show. Wendy Paquette will return next Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Mountain, and 11 p.m. Pacific. on inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. We look forward to you joining us again. Until then, enjoy your journey and we'll meet you at the crossroads.